pleased to have a conversation today with Rob Weisberg, who is a former ambassador and diplomat, now the ethics officer of Nokia Siemens Networks, operating in many countries around the world in the construction and contracting for telecommunications systems. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you, Kirk. Pleasure to be here.
Is corruption around the world something that a company that tries to operate globally like Nokia Siemens does, is that something you just simply have to deal with in many countries that you operate in?
Well, I think you certainly have to be aware of it. And one thing I would say from the ethics perspective is that sometimes these conversations, you find yourself a bit limited worrying only about corruption. And I have to stress that as the keeper of the flame of the company's code of conduct, I also have my antenna up for human rights abuses, environmental concerns, health, safety, and labor conditions. A lot of these illnesses out there that we have to worry about. But even in some of the most pristine operating environments, there are always some black hearts out there and some places to be concerned about. I mean, even here in the U.S., as we know, we are unfortunately not free from any corrupt practices.
One of the things that I have always assumed about dealing abroad is that there's always this temptation to work through middlemen, and that one doesn't get their hands dirty with corruption or even with some human rights abuses and so on, because you end up hiring an agent or you end up hiring a customs efficiency and facilitating organization. Is this the way it's done?
Well, this was certainly something the FCPA and I think also Sarbanes-Oxley tried to counteract by coming up with the concept of willful blindness. At the same time, it is remarkable how this global mercantile class has arisen. Middlemen, business consultants, in Russia they're called system integrators, facilitators, door openers. And really, when you take a step back, so frequently you see all they are is, unfortunately, a big laundry in which you are able to get receipts that look okay for frankly covering payments that shouldn't be made. So it's something I'm troubled about. We as a company are doing all we can to avoid any kind of contacts, and if we are in a situation where using somebody that might be characterized as a middleman, we are going to look very hard at what the individual of the company is doing, whether they are delivering a bona fide service, the fee operation, and then ultimately where the money is going.
It seems, though, inevitable that if it's not the middleman, there'll be some other workaround in many countries where your middle managers, your sales managers are very aggressive and very talented individuals. Is it possible to have a credible ethics code globally that is carried out in each of these countries, or is it inevitable that you will have maybe not rogue people, but people who say in this culture you've got to do something slightly different?
Well, I think we're moving from work around to work through. And in developing our organization culture, we're stressing on having everyone view the entire business process as a continuum and see from beginning to end all of the various stages has to go through, and indeed where the doors might open for somebody expecting a bad payment in a sense of corruption, or a supplier that might use child labor, whatever it is, and say, how can we close those doors and fit the deal right through a straight pattern to its fruition without succumbing to any of these. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but maybe the day after tomorrow.
That calls for a lot of pre-planning and a lot of thinking ahead about where the ethical traps are and so on. You're going to have some cases where people haven't thought as well ahead, and they'll come to you, or they'll think to themselves, I either do this deal by doing a workaround, by using a middleman, or I don't do it at all. Is your counsel don't do it at all if you've found yourself in one of those positions?
I think I would revert to what I said earlier. I mean, we're going to certainly encourage everybody to take a step back and look at, in the case of the middleman, what is the service being proffered? Is it something that we can do without resorting to benefit of this middleman's offer? Why are we doing it? And really, it's before you get the answers, we've got to have a culture where people are asking the questions. And I would say that in the 2.5 years the company's been in existence, because we really are a very young organization, we are really getting to the point where our managers and the salespeople are saying, look, before we can really propose this deal, we've got to look at every element of it.
You've said that Nokia Systems Networks is now looking at not just business risk, but ethics risk, reputational risk, human rights risk, and so on. How do you do that? How do you get your middle managers out in the field to actually do all of that kind of risk analysis?
Well, we're doing a number of things. One of the recent suggestions that we're hoping to implement this fall is really to have ethics champions throughout the globe. But also, as well, in every point of our senior and middle management training, to have an ethics component, and to build an awareness of the need to consider all of these elements, that it's not enough you make money on a deal, but what will be the fallout a month, 2 months, even several years down the road. And what you make now might seem very attractive, but what's the opportunity cost of what you might lose? For example, doing business in a country that's under a lot of sanctions, you might be able to fit within the sanctions, work within export controls, but then find your reputation has suffered so much in the United States, for example, that what you lose is far more than what you gain.
And a middle manager who comes to you and says, I understand, Rob, that this isn't ideal, and long term it's good for Nokia Siemens, but I'm evaluated on the short term, and it's whether I make enough sales this year that will determine my at least immediate future, and certainly my compensation this year. I understand your concern for the long-term reputation, but you know, the calculus looks different to me.
Greatest challenge of my job, and you're certainly right. And at present, it is a continuing education process.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.